Hello and welcome to another episode of Canadian Stacking. It's been about a week since I did my last video. I unfortunately, have life like everyone else, and I got incredibly busy with my regular everyday job and hobby. And I was out doing some whitewater activity with some friends and had a great time. And during that time, a few things have transpired in the finances, especially here in Canada. I'm sure by now any stacker that's familiar with Canada and what's going on here in our country realizes that the Canadian government currently is trying to roll out a CBDC. Actually, as a matter of fact, they made it so that you can actually go and vote on whether or not you like the idea of a CBDC, what you'd like to see in your CBDC, and how you'd like to see your CBDC rolled out. They made it sound like as if you could literally tell them, no, we don't want a CBDC. And then just like that, they literally changed the tune from this is now happening. They didn't like the pushback. Their Twitter profile, if I recall, got like a lot of negative press. And to be honest, I wasn't shocked. Like, honestly, who trusts digital wealth? It's never been tested. Yeah, we've got Bitcoin. I don't know what to think of Bitcoin at all. Okay. I don't know enough about it. People say it's unhackable. I don't know. Let's be realistic here. Could the governments hack it if they really wanted to? I'd say probably some supercomputer could do something, to prevent it. I do know that they could arrest and imprison and under penalty and pain of death and all this other stuff. So is Bitcoin going to be something of great value? I don't know. Maybe. Is it of great value right now? Yeah, sure. There's lots of people that have made lots of fiat dollars off of it, and they're able to transfer it around and use it. But this is getting back to the CBDC thing. Our government here in Canada wants to go full CBDC. They want to literally, they said they don't want to get rid of paper money. They want to use it as another layer. Well, let's be honest here, okay? I've already got another layer. I've already got my bank card. I've already got e-transfers. I've got all these electronic options to choose from. So what are they really trying to do? Obviously, they want to get rid of paper money. Now, paper money is fiat, but there's one thing about paper that's better than CBDC. They don't know what you're doing with it. And I'm a big proponent of fiat. I really enjoy paper wealth. I know this is not a long-term store of value. It loses its value every day. Every day, a little bit of this goes away. And like I've said in my other videos, always keep some dry powder, keep back a percentage of what you can invest, because you never know. Silver could drop in price. And then how do you go in and pick up, the less expensive silver, when the price falls? Like, there could be somebody that comes up and goes, I need some fiat, and they're selling some of these beautiful coins, and they're really needing the money today, and they don't have time to go to a local coin shop to purse it out, and they know that you buy, and they come up to you and they go, hey, Canadian Stacker, I got some of these old silver American coins here. What would you give me for them? And I'd be like, well, they're $1.40 makes an ounce, and how much have you got? And they tell me how much they've got, and I'm like, well, spot price right now is let's say 33 Canadian. I'll pay you $33 an ounce. If you don't have the paper, how can you do the transaction? You could do an e-transfer, but what happens if they don't want to do an e-transfer? Because if they go over a certain amount of income, their money's docked. They're on some kind of geared to income where they have to show all their expenses, and anything that flows into a bank account, they know about it. How do you hide that? How do you make it so that your transactions are invisible? And I'm not saying to do anything illegal, but let's be realistic here. This here is a means of wealth, right? A means of wealth preservation. And if I want to trade this into a box of Eggos for my kids, I'm going to need this paper. I need paper. Right now, they're not going to take this for Eggos. Okay, maybe one of the entrepreneurs or somebody or a farmer might take this for your eggs. But realistically, you're going to have to trade into this. So, can paper die? Absolutely. Is it going to die today? No. Is it going to die tomorrow? Like I said before, no. Is it going to do an overnight crash? I really, really don't think so. Until the Canadian and American populations really start to turn against this particular paper, nothing is going to change. We're going to stay status quo. You know, like we're going to inflate it, whatever the rate is, 5%, 7%. But until the people have said in their minds that I've had enough, I don't want this anymore. This is of no value, and we go to barter, because barter is what's going to come first. It's not going to be silver. It's not going to be gold. It's going to be your neighbors bartering. Like, you work for me for an hour, doing, let's say, chopping firewood with me, and I'll give you an hour equivalent in food. I'll give you a dozen eggs, and I'll give you a half a pound of bacon, or whatever it might be. When the fiat breaks down the way that everybody says it's going to break down, the first thing that's going to happen is the barter system is going to be set up, and it'll be bartered on actual physical products. Like, what do you have to trade for what I got? Well, I need some gasoline. Well, what do you got to trade? I got a couple cases of, I just have a can lying around, a couple cases of Orange Crush, and they'll trade you a gallon of gas for some Orange Crush. That's what's going to happen in a total fiat shit show. That's literally what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen first. When the paper is no longer accepted, the people will find something that they consider of worth, and that'll be what they'll barter in. That'll be what they'll trade in. That's the way it'll go. In big cities, it might be, they'll barter in food. They'll barter in material items like a bicycle or something that may contain intrinsic value to them, like an old cell phone, something they can barter off. And then once we're into it for a little bit, then they'll switch over to something else, like maybe silver or gold will set up as a means of exchange. Like I said before, in Weinmark, Germany, you were able to buy a house for like $100 in gold, which is like, an ounce and a half, 2 ounces of gold American. You could buy a nice plush house in Berlin. And that could happen. And a lot of people are like, silver's going to 300, silver's going to 90. You hear all these numbers just thrown around in American dollars. Silver's not going to $100 today. Will it get there? Sure, someday. Is it going to get there soon? Probably not. I said there was going to be a pullback in silver, and sure enough, that pullback did transpire. We saw it. We saw it happen. It was a small pullback. Do I see more of a pullback? Probably. I see us going back to the mean. And what do I mean by the mean? I see us going back to probably sub $20. When do I see this happening? If the U.S. government pivots, probably pretty quickly. I'm sorry, my camera won't stay where I want it. But I see it going sub $20. And why do I see this happening? Well, the Fed's going to pivot. And everybody's going to rally right into stocks like they always do. They're going to buy all these things that they don't really need. And that's what's going to happen first. And then after that is when you need to be positioned. You need to be positioned in gold and silver after the next go. Because we have one last push to the top. Like, literally, I can smell it coming. A bunch of my friends can smell it coming. And I'm positioning myself in as good a position as I can get into so that I can take advantage of this when it pops up. I really hope that my listeners are prepping now for it. Now, I'm not saying that I know what's going to happen, because I don't have a crystal ball. But history tends to repeat itself, and it repeats by rhyming. And if you look in 1980, silver went to 15 to 1. You look in the dirty 30s, silver 15 to 1 for gold, right? So this is going to transpire. It does. It always returns to the mean. So it's going to happen. Now, why would the Canadian government want to go to a CBDC? Gresham's law, good money, drives out bad money. This still has that one feature that I really like about fiat money: privacy. I still can take this $20 bill, and I can still do a private transaction with a fellow citizen in Canada, and I can literally say, let's exchange your labor for this paper. And it's my business and their business and nobody else's business. CBDC does not even have that as a means of wealth to your favor. You lose all privacy. So what do I think of CBDCs? I think that they are literally going to be bad. Am I going to dabble in them when they come? You bet. Why? Because I need to position myself in whatever way I can to try to maintain the wealth which I currently have and preserve it. So if they offer me, like $1,000 if I open a bank account, in stimulus money in my CBDC account, sure, I'll open the bank account. Sure, I'll take your CBDC. I can only spend it on food. Okay, no problem. I'll spend that $1,000 you gave me on food. Not a problem. I'll stockpile that in my pantry. But I will maintain paper out of the system as long as I possibly can, until I can no longer stay away. And, all of my real transferable wealth will be in this. So why is this happening? Well, look at the amount of fiat that's been printed, like not just the American dollar, but let's look at the American dollar, the euro, the Chinese yuan. Let's go with all the fiats and add them up. Like, numbers have been thrown out there in like the $300 trillion range, or $1 quadrillion in liabilities this. Well, if we're going up at 5% a year, eventually your $20 bill, this is not even going to buy you a liter of gasoline soon. Because if you put one drop of water in a hockey arena on the ice, and you add double the drops of water constantly, within mere minutes, that whole hockey arena will be filled with water. Well, right now, we are at the moment where there is a gallon bottle of water sitting on the ice. And every minute that gallon of water doubles, how many minutes is it going to take to fill up that spot? Well, think of that like your money. Like how many of these are you going to have to use? We're at that point where this 20 is worth almost 10 liters, let's say 12 liters of gas. Or for you Americans that listen, let's say the 3.5 gallons of gas. This is eventually going to become 2 gallons of gas, 1 gallon of gas, half a liter of gas, and then it's going to be worth not even the paper it's on. When I was a young man, I bought my first car. I was paying 19 cents a liter. I was paying under 80 cents a gallon. Now I'm paying $1.60, $1.70 a gallon. I mean a liter. Sorry, let's go with liters. I was paying 19 cents a liter. And now I'm paying almost 10 times that. We'll say I'm paying 9 times that right now. In 30 years, it's gone up 900% in price. And 50% of that has been in the last year and 2 months. And the government keeps putting more and more and more taxes upon the energy that we need to survive. So when we get to that tipping point, that's going to be it. It'll become unobtainable. They will force you onto whatever they want. That electric car, you'll have to have it or you won't be able to drive because you can't afford the gas. You're going to have to take the CBDC because you won't have any fiat left. You won't have anything left. Their whole goal is to get you rigged into the game where you can't pull out. And for lack of a better word, this is almost like they're slowly pulling us into a new form of control, a new form of usury. I don't want to use the S word because, a lot of people have suffered under that. And right now I'm not suffering, so I can't say that that's what I am. But ultimately their goal is to get us into a use system where they can use my energy and not have to give me anything for it. And that's ultimately what they want. And this new artificial intelligence and robots doing things is just another way for more control. And if you don't think that we're controlled, just look at what you're watching me on. You're watching me on a computer screen, you're watching me on a tablet, you're watching me on a phone, a MacBook or something. That little device that's in your hand, you can't live your life without it. Imagine if it went away right now. Like me, for business purposes, I really need my electronic devices. I can't do booking. I can't do waypoint tracking. I can't do a lot of stuff. I could go back to paper, but the amount of labor involved is incredible. So the electronics have freed us up, but they're also now starting to enslave us. There's that S word. So, we got to watch and stay vigilant. But like Chris says in his channel all the time, the point is not to get into this hyperbole of silver's going to $5,000, $10,000, dollars an ounce, this hyperbole attitude of gold, this, silver, that, you gotta get it now or time's up. Yeah, okay, great, we're there. We're in this this buildup, this timing where things are changing, and now is the time to get ready. But let's be realistic here, okay? How many of you have seriously missed a meal, like that are watching this video right now? I'm not saying that you all haven't, but if you can afford to buy silver, you're buying food. So we are poorer now than I was 10 years ago, okay? But I'm not destitute. And until we get to that point where we can't afford things, this will go on. You know, this debt ceiling is just a gimmick. The U.S. debt ceiling is going to get pushed, or something's going to happen. I don't see them giving that up without more of a struggle. So it's just to get your eyes on that, rather than the fact that in the war in Europe, there's a city, I believe its first letter starts with a B, is no longer in control of a particular country anymore. It's under control of our adversary, the bear. And they didn't want you watching about that. They don't want you watching about the fact that one of their generals is missing. They don't want you watching any of that. They just want all the eyeballs glued on what's going on politically and geopolitically, and the fires that are burning around Canada. Oh my gosh, it's a record. I hate to break it to you. During Rachel Notley's election in Alberta, there was giant wildfires. Everybody, I guess, forgot about Fort Mac. We have these fires, okay? And yeah, it's a big fire that's burning. But if you go look at the election cycle, this is what you'll find funny. The last 4 election cycles, when the elections were going on in Alberta, there was gigantic fires every election season, and it's like as if we forget. I hear people saying this is the biggest fire season that we've had. We've never seen smoke like this. All this stuff, you know, North America is like burning. I live in Quebec right now, but back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I lived in Ontario in a town called Belleville, and back in that time there was 2 major forest fires that happened that laid smoke down in Ontario, and I remember it clearly. The whole town was full of smoke. I've lived in Quebec now for 20 years, and I've seen smoke here like 6, 7, 8 times, you know. So sure, the wind's blowing south and you're getting some smoke. Okay, great. You know, it's dry. Okay, great. But you know, if you look at this other thing that they've pushed around, you know, holes in the ozone layer, and oh no, you know, we're going to all die from acid rain, and all these things they've said, you know, have any of them come true? Any of them? Name me one. I'm not going to say what the current one is because I don't want to get blacklisted with this video, but you know, let's think about this. The government goes from one false telling to another false telling to another false telling. There's never truth. So remember, stack on, stack often, and don't pay attention to the price, the spot. You know, like if you want to save up some powder for those days like I do, you know, just save it up, okay? And wait for the pullback. You know, don't buy at the tippy top. Like that's just silliness. Wait for it to go up, and then wait for the pullback, and then go in a little bit. And wait for another pullback if there's another one. Go in a little bit more. Never push all in. You never ever do that. That's like the dumb. You know, like you don't see people gambling pushing all in, and if you do, they usually lose. So be the smart stacker. You know, incrementally buy on certain dates. Stack the cheapest silver. Don't go for eagles. Don't go for this. Like this stuff here, I can trade this here for a 1 ounce maple. That's like what the price is right now on these. It's just ludicrous. Like, stay away from American junk silver right now. Like, oh, it's better than everyone else's. Of course it's better than everyone else's silver, because those guys online at SD Bullion, they're selling this stuff. If they don't have it, someone else is selling it. So we got to pump this. We got to pump it. You know, we got to pump them eagles because we're getting so much on spot. Oh, we're not getting much on spot. Okay, great. But you know someone who is. You know what I mean? Why buy the overpriced stuff? You know, if you can get a Philharmonics at near spot, get Phil. If you can get Krugers, get Krugers. You know, like if you can get any silver that you know is real silver, and you can get it close to spot or at spot, take that. You know, I'll take grandma's 925 sterling silver set at $1 or $2 under spot. I really don't care. Whatever gets me the most silver for the most money. Ounces matter. You know, we're all stacking for that financial crisis, right? Or for me, I'm stacking for retirement. So I believe that you need a certain amount of ounces of gold and a certain amount of ounces of silver to retire, along with real estate and other assets. I'll get into them in another video. But for me, silver and gold are just protection, and the retirement, which I will sell off at the finish line. I don't want some government agency telling me, you know, how much money I can spend because I'm on a geared income that they can move the goalposts on, like move the retirement age from 65 to 67, or take the amount of money you get from, you know, like the government handout of whatever it is. Let's say it's like $900 and reduce it to, because we can't afford it, even though we took your money. So I don't trust the government. I see what's happened before, and I see what's happening now, and I believe that this is my retirement. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you got anything out of this video, please like, please share, please subscribe. You know, and you know, I would really like a thumbs up. I love thumbs up. My son, he's 7 years old, and every time you guys give a thumbs up, he gets excited because he like literally goes in my phone all the time, and he comes and tells me how many thumbs up there are. So make his day and click thumbs up for him, because his nickname is Hammy. So you know, leave Hammy in the comment section if you like the video and you want him to know that you're thinking about him. My son's nickname is Hammy. So anyways, until next time, Canadian Stacker, it's been great. I'll try and do more content, but I'm back to work. I'm a seasonal worker big time, and we're getting into our busy season. I'll try to do 2 a week, maybe 3. I'm sorry it was only 1, but until next time, have a great day. Keep stacking.